الله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فلا أقسم بمواقع النجوم وإنه لقسم لو تعلمون عظيم. إنه لقرآن كريم في كتاب مكنون لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. كنتم مدهنون وتجعلون رزقكم أنكم تكذبون فلولا إذا بلغت الحلقوم. صدق الله العظيم. All to Ibrahim.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, sir. Good morning, all. In fact, this responsibility was given to me just yesterday, but I thought, okay, let me, rather than being a speaker for introduction and all, let me be a student over here and enter, to solve my own very personal difficulties. I think Gajanan sir will definitely pay attention to my request. Actually, I had a question in my mind, like, that okay, industrial growth is always been exponential, but still, like, why we have so many problems around us? Then obviously, like, what is basically missing is honesty or ethics. These two words are very much identical, and there is a very thin line in between. And then I thought, okay, where is this a problem located exactly? Then slowly I came to know that, okay, fine, we are having ethics to be covered at business level or professional level, so on and so forth. At medical ethics are also there, business ethics are also there, so many things I came to know. And really, as I went deeper into, then it became quite interesting. When say my journey reached up to this industrial ethics, then somewhere I could correlate when we were in say 10th 11th standard. Over there we were introduced to, say, fundamental units like length, mass, time, current, temperature, luminosity, so on and so forth. At the time they were just merely topics of academics. But then later on, when I spent my almost 30 years with Saboo Siddik, I came to know that these are basically currency to trade. What exactly it is going to trade? There I came to know that it trades professionalism, integrity, supporting to others, or rather, I mean, say, striving for maintaining sufficient knowledge for some kind of relevant responsibilities. So many things came to my mind, and really, as I went deeper and deeper, it started becoming more and more interesting to me. Industrial ethics, as it is spreaded to so many say areas. But then basically, as a person working in engineering college, I came to know that fine, it is something to do with leadership. It is for, like, as an element over here, as element of that big system. And of course, we are supposed to keep it in our mind all 24 into 7 to help say next generation. Because without ethics, probably we are nothing. And that was the question which I was pondering in my mind, that where is something wrong. Imagine industrialists, if they start cutting short, cutting some corners here and there. Obviously, if they do not treat, they do not pass on information to their clients, or like, the public or employers and other professional peers and so on, probably, like, results will be always something what we have been watching here and there. So, like, these were the questions which I had in my mind, and like I was struggling to find out, like, why we are still lagging behind in many aspects, including humanity. And obviously, then I found that industrial ethics is also one of the area where I need to attend the lecture completely. So obviously, this is what the point I have in my mind, and with that, I would like to say, a very small talk, but still, I would like to emphasize a lot that we all, maybe our superiors, or maybe our juniors, or maybe our family members, or maybe my fellow teachers or my fellow students, everyone needs to be extra alert, because this is what that will take you to the next height of your professionalism. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, and it was. I must add that it is always a pleasure for me to be attending any program in Saboo Siddik, because that's where I learned my engineering. So that's a wonderful thing that I really cherish. I really am very happy about. So adding on to whatever Dr. Iqbal said a minute earlier, is what do we understand from ethics? So that's a word, complete word is industrial ethics. So I'll just, want to speak a few things on ethics. So ethics is nothing but the differentiator between what is right and what is wrong. Ethics are rules. Ethics are rules one abides by to remain within a community or an organization or any group of people. Okay, basically, very simply put, the do's and don'ts of life. Quite often we hear people say that personal life and professional life should be separate, should be different compartments. When it comes to ethics, I personally do not feel that there is any differentiation between personal and professional life, and they are very happily intermingling with each other. They quite often intermingle with each other, and many a times personal principles and values define our professional behavior, and sometimes our professional principles and values help in personal life too. So coming from the industry's background, the industry from any engineering background, we have heard many cases of bribery. We've heard cases of corruption, and we've heard cases of accepting gifts. uh, we've heard cases, okay, when it comes to industries today, engineering industry today, we have seen an increase in the number of women employees. So our behavior towards them, and in general, sorry. So in general, so all these things, the prevention of sexual harassment, all these things are just a part of the behavior. And I've heard so many cases, even in my organization, there were a case where people have been sacked or fired. One such case was, just to elaborate without giving any more details, is that somebody had accepted a gold coin which was higher than a acceptable value. So the person got fired, and it's just that accepting any gold coin for that matter would be part of ethics. But then part of not accepting would have been an ethical thing. But yeah, I mean, sometimes some people kind of you know commit a mistake which a silly mistake which we should not do. Moving on to understanding one more point, that is that ignorance of law is not an excuse. This does not hold true in any court of law. So moving on to this fact that we spend almost 8 to 10 hours a day at work. So almost more than one third of our life is spent in professional environment. Hence, it is very, very important that we know and understand ethics and ethical behavior, and especially with respect to our industrial scenario, we understand the industrial ethics. That's very, very important. And I am sure our speaker today will be able to open our eyes, ears, and mind through his address. And thank you all. And over to you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to one and all. First of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Gajanan K. Sadekar, sir. To start with, let's start with his professional experience. Presently, since 2015, he provides consultancy to many companies in the areas of management and technology. Also, he is involved with academic institutes for delivering lectures in technical and career development areas. Adjunct professor at VJTI for 1718 and visiting faculty at various institutes. He is a postgraduate in mechanical engineering with specialization in heat and mass transfer. IIT Bombay, 1978, and he has a great experience near about 40 years, over 40 years. He was working as a vice president product and technology development center and manufacturing technology, process plant equipment and system business with L&T, heavy engineering, Larsen and Turbo. He has a wide experience in problem solving and failure analysis for various equipment in fertilizer, petrochemical refinery and power plant. Let's talk about his responsibilities at Larsen and Turbo. That duration is August 1978 to June 2015. He has worked with Research and Development Department from 1978 to 1992. He is involved in development of various heat transfer equipment and systems. He has also worked with pressure vessels and special equipment of heavy engineering division in various capacities with responsibility for design and engineering, project planning and monitoring, estimation and proposal engineering, thermal design, stress analysis, system and computerization, and product development from 1992 to 2004. He has played a significant role in development of export business for process plant equipment and systems. He was the head of Product and Technology Development Center for Process Plant Equipment and System Business of Heavy Engineering Division from 2004 to 2010. He was a vice president of Product and Technology Development Department and Manufacturing Technology Competency Center for Heavy Engineering from 2010 to 2015. He has obtained 5 patents for L&T in the area of heat transfer. Also, he's having membership of so many professional bodies like Bureau of Indian Standards, subcommittees for pressure vessels, welding and materials, member of Bureau of Indian Standards, sectional committee for chemical engineering plants and related equipment, member of Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers, the Indian Society of Heat and Mass Transfer, and Energy Committee of ICC. Last, not the least, he has presented more than 20 number of papers he has published as well as presented national and international papers. Okay, so we have a very great speaker with us. So we are very much eager to hear you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now let me open first. Let me share my presentation, and then I'll start. Is it okay with you? So that this should not be present now, right? So I have to do it on a share, right? Correct? No, your entire screen. Yeah. Then I have to click on this. Yeah. Are you able to share? Are you able to see? No, no, that I kept it ready. Yeah. Just hold on. Are you able to see?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
sir. Just make it full screen. Yeah.
yeah, I'm making that. Just hold on. It will happen. It says ignore. Okay. Let me. Is it come? No. Why? Just see now.
Yes, yes.
No. Yeah. Okay. Now it's okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay, sir. Yes,
but
yes.
when I make it full screen, there's a problem. Why it is not happening full screen? Uh, uh, okay, so should I come out to just now stop sharing? Yeah, then I opened the presentation. So I should go to the full mode, is it? Yeah. So yes, hold on. Yeah, this is what I done now. But how to go now? I can't see my this thing, no?
Sir, please press Alt and Tab button.
Okay. Alt and tab, is it? Okay. Sorry, sometimes I have this problem, so I'm sorry for that. Could you see it now? Hello? Hello? No? Just hold on. Let me try once more. That's what happens. I have this time we have not done the. Should I do the screen first sharing? Because I feel that always I used to do that. I don't know why it is not working this time.
Yes, sir. That will be also fine.
Yeah, that should
Yeah,
be
that will be fine.
working. That will be fine. Should work. Last time it did work. I don't know what's happening. Okay. So now you are presenting your screen. Here it says that. Are you able to see the screen? My screen?
Yeah, but presentation is not there.
Yeah, no, that's okay. It will
Yeah,
come.
now the presentation is there. Instead of making full screen. Yeah, yeah, sir. Now it is okay, sir.
It
It
has
is
come. It has
perfect.
come. It has
Yeah, yeah.
come.
It is perfect now.
Yeah. Just hold on. No? Let me start. Do this little hide. Okay. Okay. So good morning to all of you. And having been a holiday season, all are there, so I'm very happy about it. And thanks for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. And wish you all the happy Diwali, because we are starting on a very auspicious occasion of the Diwali. Now coming back to the what I'm going to do is maybe next 1 hour or 1 hour 10 minutes or something like that. Already Professor Iqbal Sheikh and Professor Fajil Khan, they mentioned a little bit about ethics. Ethics, and that's the reason specifically Professor Khan mentioned, Fajil Khan mentioned that the professional and in industry, in the personal life, there's no difference. I fully agree with it actually. And that's what happens. When you are working in a professional ethics in at home and I have no ethics in my profession, I don't think that happens. So she mentioned many things about values, do's, don'ts of life, and difference in the rules and regulations. So what we are going to do in next 1 hour is we are going to look at various aspects of ethics and professionalism for engineers. Specifically, value. What are our values? We are going to discuss a little bit about it. And just now you also mentioned regarding the leadership. So we are going to talk a little bit about what exactly the leadership means to us. So we'll get into the various aspects related to this. And before starting, I like to mention one more thing. Like, though I am talking specifically in the industry, but what we are going to talk is applicable for all aspects of our life. Just to mention, Professor Iqbal, you may be interested in six up. Actually, I have developed another presentation, which is actually the little modification of this presentation for ethics in education and industry. That I did it for one of the quality improvement program. It was, I think it was in Sardar Patel arrange. Various around 40-45 teachers were there. So I had an opportunity to talk on that, but that we can maybe discuss separately. So let us start with this particular presentation. So one more thing, generally I like to do this session offline only because we can have interactions. Now with the online, little bit there will be a problem of interaction, but still I like to ask the question. People can answer, whoever wants to answer that. That will be good for me. Okay. So we start with this. First slide, I'm going to start ethics related. This picture. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Slide? Yeah. What thoughts comes to your mind when you look at this slide? Different type of frauds. What happens to you? I said, what happens to your mind? These are different type of frauds. That's what is depicted in the slide. But what happens to you when you look at it? Anybody like to answer?
Sir, environmental challenges are
What happens to you? How you feel at the moment? Just now looking at this slide, what do you feel?
Very bad.
Very bad. What, anything
they
else?
are in they are
Pain.
in
Annoying. Very nice. What else happens?
Pain.
Huh? Pain. Very good. See,
The
somebody says
feeling
annoying.
like feels
Yeah.
like what we have to do. Impact is very hard. The impact is very hard.
Yes. And you feel the state, all this type of things. Why this happens actually to us? Or very nicely said. Morals. So we say it's not ethical. These people, whatever. Have you seen in this picture? Very interesting thing. I'm talking. Just 1 second, huh? Sorry for that. Look at this picture. Very interestingly, what I done. There's some people who are done fraud. That's shown something related to environment. Something what happens nowadays is scams in email. It's not happening. That's what it happens. So somebody says yes, value and all that. So that's called ethics is not there. We feel the ethical practices are not followed. So what really ethics means to us? So what ethics means to us is ethics relate to a way of life, morals or principles generally agreed or adopted by a group of people. Actually, earlier speaker mentioned it's a group of people. Agreed or adopted by a group of people. It's very important to understand. Ethical practices get developed over a period of time because some group of the people feel this is a good, this is bad, this is what happens in our society. when we meet also something which appeals to us, something doesn't appeal to us. Something we feel something is being done wrong. So it's a way of life actually. The agreed the standards for adherence or compliance. So over a period of time, it becomes the adherence system. It becomes a system saying that if you don't behave like this, it's a bad. If you don't behave like this, it's a. If you behave like this, it's a good. So over a period of time, things happen, and who decides? All of us decide. Actually, we decide. We are the people who. This means there's a very interesting thing. Actually, Professor Iqbal Sheikh mentioned why this particular thing happens. Ethical practice people don't follow. That is because we. This means all of us are responsible for whatever happens. Each individual also has to think, I'm also equally responsible. But over a period of time, the practices get generated through us. That's very important to understand. Ethical. And in turn, ethics define individual behavior and values. Finally, at the end of the day, all ethics is about the individual behavior and values. We talk about say that in industry or in education or in any medical field. But finally, at the end of the day, what happens? In every field, you will get some good, some bad, right? This is what happens. So ethics really, if you have to, now, just if I have to summarize this slide, if you look at the three words, keywords, way of life, morals or principles, behavior or conduct, and agreed or adopted. This means agreed by the group of people is the behavior and conduct related part of that, and is the way of life. So every day what I do is how I do, that defines my ethical process. Now in that group of people we talk about. So today what we are going to do in this lecture, mostly I'll keep myself limited to respect to industry. Okay, because we can talk medical, because that way what we said just now, ethics really is not is a professional, personal life, personal behavior. So it can be same in all these particular things. But we are going to talk a little specific about industry. Some part will be different in different fields. What are the standards which related to industry? What are the standards and how adherence or compliance is measured? So these are the three questions which actually Professor Iqbal Sheikh asked me in the beginning. Is the more or less relate to that. What are the standards and how adherence or compliance is measured? So let us look at so what are the really a group of people in industry? The group of people are investors or the shareholders of the company, or the people of the company, employee, because without employee there cannot be this thing, customer and the consumer, otherwise industry will not sustain, supplier and distributors, because we require the things to be distributed to the people, customer and things like supplier. At the same time, to manufacture something, you require materials, and suppliers will be the very important part of it. Competitor is very important part, and society and environment. So if you really see when you call the group of the people in the industry related, so these are the entities which are involved into it. So let us look at the very interesting thing happens really. If you really see all transactions between these entities, really if you see all these six entities, there's a transactions occurring between it. Investor and the shareholders and the employee, customer, supplier, distributor, computer, all there are the transactions occurring. So all transactions between these entities are interdependent. They are actually depends. For example, if I'm working in a company needs me and I need a company. If the customer is not there, company will not be able to do the business. So they are all interdependent. Supplier, if the supplier doesn't supply the material, we will not be able to manufacture. So if you really see, all these entities are interdependent. But there's one interesting thing. Each entity has their own purpose. Very interesting. The question why ethical practices are important comes to here, because they have the interdependent, but each one has his own purpose. Employee says, I should get a better thing for myself. Customer will say, I get good product, which is a good product I should get. So shareholders and investors will say, he must be able to earn the profit. So like that, so we have to understand They are interdependent, but each one has their own purpose. Now needs better understanding of interdependence. And really to understand the ethical practice, we require to understand the interdependence and clarity of the purpose to successfully integrate these two requirements to achieve overall industry goal or success. Actually, if you are able, it is not that there will be these two things will exist. Interdependence will exist at the same time. Personal interests also will exist. But how we really mix them, such a balance them, that will determine how the organization will be successful. Society will be better. Will depends upon how well we are able to amalgamate these two things and follow the ethical practices. So let us understand a little further. So what we'll do is actually next 5-6 slides. Each one of this, what we talk about group, industry, how they are, what are the things happens in that, we'll understand little. Let us look at the investor and shareholders. Investment capital to develop the industry, because he has invested the money in order to develop the industry. What will be their motive? Maximization of return on investment or profit. There's nothing wrong in that. So they will be maximum. But what is expected out of them? Transparency and openness. Adherence to rules and regulations of the government. Organized business practices. Your business practices should be properly organized. Sustainability of the business. Finally, business has to sustain. Somebody has started the business. If it next year business stops, what happens? So many people who are working there, they will be unemployed. So many things will go wrong, right? So sustainability of business is very important. And societal obligations. At the same time, the industry has obligation towards the society. So if you really look at this, many of these factors, something belongs to the like maximum return is one of the things, but it must be transparency and openness. Adherence to rules of regulation. So look at these factors. I will not elaborate too much because we have time, we have to finish in 1 hour. But each one of these factors, if you look at it, they tell you that from the point of investor, these are the factors. Now let us look at the next entity, employee. Motivated talent pool and workforce. It's very important, but employees should be motivated. Who keeps them motivated? Somebody will say their bosses will keep them motivated, right? Somebody will, I feel that no, talent pool themselves should be motivated. Then conducive working conditions. How the working conditions the organization, they play the role. Transparent and open policies. Some employees will feel, oh, our organization is not open. We don't come to know what really happens. How some partial thing happens in a promotion time. That type of thinking can come. Then growth-oriented environment, and whether I'm working in an organization, whether there's enough training and development offering in order for my growth. That will be employee also will look for that. But at the same time, you look at the job security, pay structure. But very important from the company point of view, whether employee they are committed, they have the ownership and accountability. So it is not one-way game. It's both two-way game. In a sense, employee has something requirement, like he wants conducive environment, he wants proper training policies, but at the same time, he also has the commitment, he has to have the ownership and accountability. And just now, I think mentioned in the last introductory talk, gender equality and policies. That's a very important part of it. So if you still look at the employees, how many factors are there? So these are it's a very not easy thing, when you talk about ethics. So you have to understand that each entity will have its own pluses and own factors which determine the pluses and minuses. The next one is the customer. Reason for existence of the business. What is the customer? If the customer is not there, there will be no business. This means if I'm doing the business, I must make high quality products, services leading to customer success. Satisfaction. If you look at this, there's one word I mentioned, customer success. You know what is why I mentioned customer success? Because when you say customer satisfaction, is only something like, oh, customer feels happy about what he got a product. No, I want my customer to succeed. If he doesn't succeed, if he doesn't sustain, I will not be able to sustain. That's the important customer success. Like for example, let us take a manufacturing industry, manufacturing equipment. We are supplying the equipment if that equipment fails within a short time, what will happen? That industry will suffer. He will not succeed. So actually, I must think when I'm supplying the equipment, saying that my customer should succeed. That equipment should work for years. Otherwise, what happens on our roads? No? That's what one of the best example to give you is the roads in Mumbai. Contractor makes the roads every year, and every year we require repair. Why? Because he doesn't think that he's going to work on it. Doesn't think that because if I make the road proper, my income will stop. That's the thinking process. Next, technological advances and development. If I want to keep my customer success in mind, I will do the advances in my technology development. Organization must spend the time on advancement and development. Otherwise, I'll not be able to give the high quality products to my customer. Transparent and openness, information of product and services. For example, many people print the catalogs of the product. How open in that? Suppose, for example, I'm not saying that your product will have some pluses and some minuses. For example, I'm supplying two products. Maybe in one, there is a very material which is used is a little expensive as compared to other. I must be able to saying that this particular product will last for 2 years, this product will last for 1 year. There's nothing wrong. Because there is a different strata of consumer. Every consumer may not be able to pay you the same money. So you can make the product, but you must be able to say as it happens now when you go to buy some TV or buy something, some people will say, I'll give a 3 years warranty. Somebody will say, I'll give 1 year warranty. We get little feel bad about when you say 1 year warranty. Why not you give 3 years? Yes, if I want, I have to pay for it. Many people want the same. If I want there's a 2 years warranty. We can give the extended warranty if you pay extra something. So he knows at that time, actually, I know nothing will go wrong in 3 years. But still, by asking you to pay openly, he is saying that I am taking the care if something goes wrong. So if this is the openness. Fulfillment of all contractual obligations and beyond. Many times in the industry, what happens, when you supply the equipment, you say, in 1 year, something goes wrong, I will give you free. So, free, or maybe I do the repair free or whatever, something like that. Now, it's very important. What happens to us? I buy the suppose fridge and comes and next day something goes wrong. After a week, I call them and he doesn't turn out on time. You feel bad about it, right? So fulfillment of those contractual obligations to the customer is a very important part. The reliability and trust. Many times, this is the element which gets developed, like reliability and trust is like, if I say, I buy from this company, I have nothing to worry about it. Even if something goes wrong, you start justifying that company, oh, something might have gone wrong because it's one time. Why? Because you have developed the trust for that. And developing that trust of the customer is very important from the organization point of view. That trust will get developed when you suppose, for example, fulfillment of all contractual obligations you are doing. So people will forget about it. Even if the problem comes, but if you solve their problems on time, next time you'll feel happy. No, unko na phone kiya to wo log aa jate. That type of thing happens. No personal biases. Most of the time in industry is very important. There should not be a personal bias. Saying that if Mr. So and so comes, I will treat him well. So and so doesn't come, the other person comes, I will not treat. This type of thing doesn't happen. The customer doesn't like it, right? Avoidance of monopolistic trade policies. That's important because once you are doing monopolistic policies, if you will never be able to develop the trust. People will say these are opportunists. These people are getting the money when we need something. That type of thing happens. So this is a customer related factors. Next is a supplier and distributor. Many times what happens in organization is suppliers, for example. For me, supplier is a partner in success. It's the essential part of the value chain. I want to supply, I want to give the supply, I want to manufacture very quality product, high quality product. But my suppliers who supply me materials, raw materials or maybe components, if that quality is not good, my final product will not be good. So it's a very essential partner. So what is required is transparency and openness with the supplier. I'm not saying there can be there will be a commercial relationship, but at the same time, she's a partner that we have to understand very well. I must develop that partner. Respect and dignity should be given to the supplier. Many times what happens when the supplier comes, I make him sit for 5 hours saying that, oh, baad mein baat karenge, abhi time nahi hai. No, he's your partner. Giving that respect to him is very important because he's a partner in the growth. If you want to grow, your suppliers and distributors are equal partners of you, and you have to give that respect to them. And there's another thing, fair and unbiased practices. Somebody should not feel that, oh, that supplier gets a better deal as compared to me. No, that is not acceptable. So these are the various factors which play. Development orientation. Like for example, if you want your product to grow, I must go and see that my supplier develops. Suppose somebody is supplying you a component. I have to go and help him to have the proper quality system in his organization. Because if he grows, I'll be better off. Because in that case, I need not worry. That product will come. I can directly use it in my assembly. I can make the product. So all these type of things, supplier and distributor. Then another factor is the competition. Many times people feel the competition actually is the inherent part of the business, right? But it's very important for the essential for the growth and development. Because if the competitor is not there, you will become complacent. So competitor is very important. Have you seen, for example, today, for example, Diwali, you go and all the people selling the lamps they'll be at the same location. How can they work? Or you can generally check in any city, all gold shops will be on the one street. They're all competitors to each other. All sari shops will be side by side. Somebody will say, "Arey, wo ek hi jagah mein sab log hai to business kaise karenge?" But still they exist. And actually, they are essential for the growth and development. Similarly, in industry, competitor should not be treated as he's saying that he's a hindrance to me. You have to think like, you have to treat respect and dignity, their products and services, their IPR. If they are having the IPR patents, I have to respect that patent. Because it's very important to respect those competitors because we can learn from something and we can actually learn. There's nothing wrong in learning from the competitor. But I should not use the unscrupulous tactics, saying that I should not, saying that, okay, suppose if I have to submit a tender, I'll go to my competitor and say, let us work together and we'll vote as a one part. It's a bad. That should not be done. But respect and dignity should be maintained. Promise, actually, the competition promotes the learning and development. Even in, you take in any field for that matters. Students, for example, in a class, you should actually, if particular, some people who have scored good marks or who are good, intelligent, it's good to have those type of things because you can learn from them. And you will feel that I can do something better. That type of things happen. So it promotes learning and development part of it. So this is a competition. And last is the societal environment. I think I don't require elaborate essential purpose of the existence because opportunity to build a society. Every industry or every institute gets the opportunity to build a society. Adherence to rules and regulation, taxes, duties, restrictive and monopolistic trade policies, unlawful activities, everything. For example, if the organization is there, I have to pay the duties on the time. I must pay the taxes, whatever required to be paid. The compliance and protection of environment. Like we have seen in the first slide, the smoke coming out of the factories or the sometimes like chemicals, for example, effluent living into the river. Is it a good practice? One has to think over it. Health and safety of the people. Suppose some of the gases are getting produced which are environmentally not good for the environment as well as for the people. How whether health safety systems are sufficient in the organization or not. Respect and dignity of avoidance of manipulation of people emotionally. Sometimes emotional people play the games. So that type of thing should not be there. Transparency and like for example, somebody is saying, oh, this particular thing, it will be very good for your, it will be good for your nature, behavior or something like that, or maybe health. but it is not true that the emotionally you are playing with the people's thing. Transparency and willingness to investigations. There should be, if environment somebody wants investigation, you should be open to it. Like many times industry practices, that's what happens. No, if you are not open, transparent, and willingness to investigations, then people get the doubt. And sustainability of all aspects. Everything should be sustainable. If I buy the fridge and tomorrow this company gets closed, I feel bad about it. So sustainability of the industry is very important from that point of societal point of view. So these are the factors what we have seen just now. So really see the code of ethics for industry revolves around for all these factors: inclusive business, accountable business, transparent business standards, fair competition, equal opportunities employer, health, safety, and environment. Actually, I have summarized from those 6 slides. If I bring out what are the factors which are interdependent, we said 2 things that time. It is interdependent, and each one has its own benefit required for each one of them. They have their own purpose. So if you really look this, if I have to take out those, which are those factors? So business should be inclusive of all. The inclusive of the customer, employee, suppliers, investors, shareholders, everybody is distributors and society. Accountable business. Business should be accountable to all these people. For each one, like you should be accountable to customer, you should be accountable to society, you should be accountable to your supplier. Transparent business standards. Your business standards should be very transparent. Fair competition. Competition, there's nothing wrong in doing the competing with something, but you must have the fair competition. No monopolistic thing, no taking the advantage of, not stealing the competitors' information and all that type of thing. Equal opportunity employer. Health, safety, and environment. So these are what we talk about. So these are the 6 factors coming out of that 6 slides of various relations between the groups of the industry. And actually, ethics standards will get formed based on these factors. So, based on that, what I can say, all transactions to accomplish above, these are the transactions which occur, involve certain decisions. Decisions are made by whom? Either by the group of people or by an individual. In an organization, for example, we say, oh, this organization is like that. Finally, at the end of the day, in our organization, who takes the decision? Decision is taken by some group of the people, maybe a management or maybe some committee or whatever it is, or individual boss. So at the end of the day, it is the individual who takes the decision. So what governs the decision making? So organization culture, ethical practices, and individual values. So any organization, if you really see, nowadays, for example, many of the organizations, if you go and have a look at it, they will have the code of conduct. They will say you should follow, employees should do like this should not be done. Some, I think, Fasil Khan, Mr. Fasil Khan, he mentioned about do's and don'ts in life. So each industry also they make the do's and don'ts, like a code of conduct. So organizational culture, how the organizational culture happens. People say organizational culture flows from the top to bottom. Means what? How the top person behaves, the bottom, the people below that will have something comes into it. You look at upwards and see, oh, idhar chalta hai, to hum aisa karega. That's very important. So organizational culture, ethical practices, how organization is strict. Like I want to tell you a small example. When I started my consultancy, I visited one of the very small company I am doing the consultancy. But just I joined maybe in August, September, and Diwali came in October. And I was very thrilled looking at that organization. Because I joined that organization because I wanted to do something different. So I joined that organization. But Diwali time, they put the board on the gate saying that we don't accept the gifts and we don't give the gifts. Very interesting. They said we don't give the gifts and we don't accept the gifts. So people sometimes some outside suppliers will bring some gift for the people in a different, depend upon location, depend upon their positions and all that. So very clear board was written there outside, and a door itself saying that we don't accept the. Look at that. This is ethical practices. Individual values. And at the end of the day, the individual value plays the role. We are going to look into these values a little bit more detail. Professor Dabir, how much time we have? Hello? 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 Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear me, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
How
Yes,
much
sir, you're
time you
audible.
have? I'll take around another 40 minutes. Is it okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So now, philosophers view ethics as a matter of choice. Very interesting. Ethics is a matter of choice. In the beginning, we said why some people doesn't behave like this, why some people behave like this. So it's a matter of choice. Individual must make a choices in their lives. All of us, we have a choice, and I have to make a choice. Everyone is forced to make a choices, and even the choice not to choose is a decision. Very interesting sentence. Everyone is forced to make a choices, and even the choice not to choose is a decision. It is important to note, business don't make choices. Business doesn't make choice. Company doesn't make the choice. Choices are made by are implemented by the individuals within the business and industry. So finally, at the end of the day, anything we talk about organization or the institute, finally it boils down to the individual. But individual make the choice in the organization. Individual decides some rules and regulations. So individual plays a very important role, right? So let us, what we are going to do is, I'm going to show some examples. Sometime back, we said there's nothing like this difference between the right and difference is the ethics is the difference between right and wrong. But many times there's nothing like a right and wrong. Circumstances do define something. So we are going to see some examples of the ethical practices. So what I'll do, I have something like 17 examples, but every example will not get into it because of the time. This thing, we'll see some of the examples. Let us. I'll read out the example for you, and if anybody wants to comment on this, anybody can comment. Okay, but I'll give not more than half a minute for comment. Every week, we are required to test chemical discharges that are produced when make a particular product. This means this factory is making some chemicals and they are making some discharge goes into the tests always come out of the same. So sometimes when work is very busy, we skip the tests and do them a day or two later if we can. Then when we do the missing test, we just backdate the results. Since this helps manage our workflow, is this really wrong? All right. For example, the chemicals or discharges are coming. Sometimes we are supposed to test the discharge to know that discharge is okay. I mean, this is not problematic. But many times what happens, oh, रोज ठीक आता है, चलो कल करेंगे testing, आज नहीं करेंगे. And then when the test results comes, in the record we put the back date and put the thing. Is it okay or not okay? It's a wrong practice. Yeah. Somebody will say, नहीं नहीं कभी आज तक mistake हुआ ही नहीं है, तो क्यों नहीं करने का? So there is nothing like right and wrong. It's a very interesting thing. So I'm just leaving this open. So we are going to see at the end of the day, something there is no answers to it. There's a right or wrong. But as you rightly said, it's the wrong thing to do. Because on the particular day something goes wrong, then who is responsible for it, right? So it's a very tricky thing. Taking a person who is taking the decision, he has to, because what happens if you give once okay, there are chances that people will follow the things over a period of time. It will become dilute. System will become diluted, right? So one has to be very careful. I agree with you. Next example. Let us look at the next example. We have someone on our team who is hearing impaired. He is not able to hear properly. He's a great worker and can speak, but sounds very differently than everyone else. Some people make fun of him behind his back. I find it embarrassing and bad for teamwork. What should I do? Anybody like to comment? Am I clear, right? You are able to read that thing, right? What should you do? Anyone?
I think, sir, before starting any discussion or meeting, his condition should be explained to every team member.
Very nice. That's the one way of doing it. But yes, yes, right. Fantastic. But this means what? Every individual has to think about it. Now, what happens in this type of thing situation? Who will catch the bear? Huh? Who will bail the cat? Right? We'll say, वो बोलना चाहिए मीटिंग के पहले, but किसने बोलना चाहिए? That becomes the problem. So every individual has a responsibility to do something or the other, right? So that person's behavior or that his values will determine. My values will determine whether I will stand up and say, Mr. So and so has little problem, so please, none of the people will make any fun of it. Okay, you understand? There's nothing wrong in saying this in the beginning itself, as you rightly said. So what happens is, who will take the decision? Who will take the lead for such things? That's what is important. Okay. And that depends upon our values. Why I'm giving these examples to bring out through all these examples, one message I want to bring out. And that message is, finally, at the end of the day, we are the people who make the decision. So when we talk about ethics, it actually revolves around us. That is what the message is. Okay. We'll see some more examples. You are tell me, anybody like to comment on this? Is clear? No, somebody said there's a cricket match there, so my vendor came, so who supplies material in a purchase department, and he gave me tickets. Should I take or should I should not take? Okay. Anybody else like to comment on that?
Yeah, but what happens is, quite often, again, it depends from organization to organization, and a certain value is prescribed by an organization which can be treated as an acceptable thing within a certain value. So if the ticket offered is for the a very kind of an enclosure very next to the team players, like having a cricket match, if there is a cricket match and it is next to the cricketers, this um,
Pavilion.
yeah, so in such cases, that will be a very high value, and such cases should not be accepted. Again, it depends from organization to organization. One organization may say no, nothing to be accepted. Second is that some organizations may lay down a limit in terms of from the
See,
aspect of relationship building.
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe yeah.
So agree what you said, but why I want to bring the organization into it? Because organization will make a rules, but finally individual also has the thing. See, for example, for me specifically, this ticket small thing. For me, as you somebody said, there are vested interests. I agree with both of you, but just to tell you something interesting, I may take it the tickets. I may take it. I'm not saying the correct thing to do or right or wrong thing to do or right thing to do, but I may take it accept. But what I'll do, because when somebody is giving you the favor, he may it becomes an obligation and he may require some favor from you, right? That's a doubt. Best thing is what I can do. I can say, भाई मेरे ग्रुप में सब लोगों को टिकट दे सकते हो क्या? That can be one option. Or second thing I can say, I take a ticket and declare in the group saying that this man has given me the tickets. What happens at that moment? The obligation parts goes up. Vanishes. I'm not saying it is right or wrong, but just I'm giving you another example. I take a ticket and tell everyone, saying that I got the tickets from him. Now that fellow will not ask you favor because everybody knows about it. Because he knows if he gets a favor, then all people will come to know. So this is another way of doing it. So every situation has a different thing. So okay, there's nothing like that's what we are going to conclude at the end. Let us go some more examples. In the last week in the quarterly reporting period, it's the last in a company. The reporting period, you have to report performance of the company, product developed, the product manufactured, etc. every quarter. My boss wants to make sure we meet our numbers for the quarter. So he asked me to record an unconfirmed sale now that won't be finalized until next week. I guess this won't hurt anyone because I'm just showing the number, so it's not going to hurt, really speaking, anyone. Should I do what he says or no? Anybody would like to comment?
It will be definitely a no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So there's a questionable. So I'll leave it there. I'm not saying the
yeah.
no is also correct. For me, it will be
Yeah.
no. For somebody, it can be yes, and he will have different argument, right? He will have different argument because it's not harming anybody, and if you are so sure of getting that thing, but if it doesn't come, then what happens? But over a period of time, this type of practices can lead to something else. So that has to be, one has to be all this in ethics sometimes is a very, very dicey thing. So let us go to the next example. I have a large grass mower at home. I think we'll skip this particular thing. I have just joined the company A as a new employee. My prior employer is one of the company A's largest competitor. Can I share some important confidential marketing information that I developed while working for this competitor?
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly not. So, but see what happens. But now important thing comes. He has taken you because he knows कि आपके पास कुछ मसाला होगा. Right? We say no, but what is going, it may affect you because you are joined here. She's asked, she wanted some information. He knows that you know about it. Now you have double-edged sword. If you give the information, problem, because your ethics doesn't permit you to give the information. At the same time, if you don't give, she will feel that you are not given the information, so it can affect your career. It's a big question, right? Hello.
So it
Yes,
will be, yeah. So it will be two things here. One is that whatever you've gained, whatever as an employee I have gained as an experience, that can be put to use. But what values, what current values are there? What is, at what rate is a particular company buying this? That should not be shared. While
correct.
you
Yeah,
may,
yeah.
while personally you can keep a target that this is somewhere we should be, but it should be within the experience domain and not on the database of the competitor.
So actually, just to tell you, sir, I'm not discussing really the right and wrong answers. I'm just giving the situations which one required to face in the organization or any in your life. These situations can come. I'm going to show you some more examples. No, this can be also applicable to the education institute. I have an idea to reduce the subscription cost for trade publications. The office would get just one subscription to each journal or newsletter, which would then be circulated to everyone with the instruction to copy any articles they want. Did the good cost-cutting measure? Look at it. This is a very interesting thing because you will say, why are we should buy so many copies or so many licenses? एक license लेके उसको copy करके use करो. Now, this also happens in a license, like for example, pictures. Take an example of what happens nowadays. When pictures get released, some people copy, pirate it, right? Is it a wrong thing or right thing to do? One has to think. So these are I'm giving you some examples. Look at the next example. You provide engineering services to client in the field of reservoir engineering and resource analysis and reporting and paid for your time and reasonable expenses. He's paying you. You're supposed to do the estimate of the resources. Your client wants to be provided a signed report showing that their field contains a certain level of reserves. You receive data necessary to make an evaluation along with the client's own reserves estimate, which is reality, the target they wish to see. Should you take this consulting project? Actually, what happened? Some people require the consultancy report. So they will say, "Bhai, aap log ye assignment karo." But my result is expected something like this result I'm looking for. He will tell you in the beginning itself. So even if you don't find it actual, he wants you to somehow adjust it to that number. So will you like to take that consultancy or not to take that consultancy? Anyone? Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
What do you think? This is a very tricky question, right? Whether to take the project for consultancy or not to take a consultancy. Anyway, so I'll leave it there. We'll not discuss them more. Just I'm going to give some examples to you. Okay. Let us skip this one. Okay. I have just received an invitation to attend a hearing of a government local authority committee as an expert industry witness. How should I respond? Probably, if you have that expertise, one should go. But how should I respond? It depends upon whether you have really expertise in it. Not because somebody has called me, I'll go there, even if I am not having the knowledge. So that type of decision one required to take. Now, I think we'll skip this one. The company just seconded me to the control. Okay, I think this also will skip. Yeah. Okay. A former company A employee who worked on my team recently contacted me to request that I provide copies of some material we work on during his employment. In the course of this conversation, I learned that this former employee has copies of several binders and CDs with the company A materials and data we used in a project. I told this employee that I would get back to him, her. What should I do now? Same thing, what we discussed, something like that. So these are something same again, confidentiality maintaining and all that type of problem comes. Okay, next example. This is very interesting. I was working late last night at the office. When I went to use the photocopier, I found a small stack of personal records in the sorter. I noticed that the copies contain payroll information of our department. There was a lot of personal information on these forms. I did not want to get anybody in trouble, but I also did not think it was right that this kind of information was left for all to see. What should I do? Hello? Anyone like to comment on this? Hello?
I think it is rightly said by someone, inform to the higher authority.
Yeah,
immediately.
it's right. That's one of the thing. But I want to give you a nice example for this particular thing. You know what happened to me recently. Yeah, actually, I was delivering this lecture to the MTech and final year students of in one of the college, and it was a physical lecture because it was before Corona and all that. So when this example came, then people had a different opinion. So I said, just hold on. I said something I'll tell you. So I gave them the example, saying that I said, you go to your professor's room and you find the question paper is lying on your exam going to be there in the next week, and the question paper by mistake lying on the table. You see that she is not there, professor is not there, and question paper is there. What will do? You look at that question paper, and what will do? What do you think should be done? Anybody? I want any student to respond to this, if possible. Hello? Any student like to respond? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Any student? What do you think? If you find a question paper on a table, what will do? You will have a look at it. Will not have a look at it. What will do?
Sir, I think someone has replied.
What is that?
Yeah, we
I'm not
should
able
not
to see.
look. Yeah, we should not look at it.
We
I
should
think,
not look at.
yeah, it should be conveyed to the faculty, but the faculty,
Yeah.
the question paper is lying
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
table.
Okay. So that I told the class what I told. I'll tell you. There are 2-3 things will happen. There will be someone who will say, "I'll not look at it." Agree. Somebody will say, "Look at it." He will look at it. He will come out and put it on a group to everyone to know, saying that मैंने अभी क्वेश्चन पेपर देखा, करके रिलीज करें. आजकल तो व्हाट्सएप मैसेज भी आते हैं ना, तो सबको जाएगा. There will be another person who will look at the paper, but he will not tell anyone. There can be a third person who will not even look at it. Why he will not look at it? Because there's his self-esteem. Even if he look at it and he gets the more marks, he will not get happy about it, because here his self-esteem will get disturbed. So there will be, depends upon that individual's mindset, action will occur. Somebody will say, "क्या देखो चलो सबको देता है." Somebody will say, "No, किसी को नहीं देगा." Somebody will say, "I'll not even look at it." So all these 3 possibilities exist. Something similar thing in this particular case. Somebody's salary. Then I'll tell you what happened on that day. Why I gave you that example. That day after I delivered my lecture, I was waiting for the taxi in the evening. I delivered the lecture and all students were going to their hostel. So suddenly one group, and everybody was waving at me, "Sir, thank you," and all people were going. So suddenly one boy out of the group of 4-5, they were going, they waved me and they went, and one boy came back to me. And very interesting. I said, "Why? What happened?" No, he said, "Sir, I want to tell you something." I said, "Bolo, kya ho gaya?" So he said, "Sir, what happened? What you gave that example, something similar happened to me, but not a question paper." He said, something from his drawer. And I went and opened his drawer and I found his paisley was lying there. So I had a look at that paisley. And now I felt today I did a wrong thing by reading that paisley. I said, "Very nice, good, but I want to tell you something." Why you felt that? So I said, there are 3 dangers in that paisley reading. If you read the paisley, and if suppose by chance the salary was less, then you are a loser, because from that day you will not have the respect for the teacher and you will not concentrate on your studies. So that's a big danger for yourself. Second thing is, if you look at it and come and tell somebody saying that unka salary itna hai, people will say, "Kya aadmi hai, sabko kuch bhi batate jata hai." So your self-esteem will get disturbed. Somebody will think low of you. So there are many dangers in this. Best thing is, if that not going to serve any purpose, it is not going to affect you anyway, why should I look at it? That's the best thing to do, not to look at it. I said, "I'm very happy." He said, "Sir, I made a mistake, so I thought I should tell you about it." Look at it, what happens to people. One lecture, he heard this and he said, "आज से मैंने decide किया है, ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा." So this is a good thing to happen, no? So ethics, when we are saying how to change the society, we need not worry about. Society can change. Individual has to change. That's what the important thing comes to. Let us see one more example, or let us keep the examples. A personal friend is a candidate for a job with your company, and you will potentially be involved with the hiring decision. What should you do? Anybody like to answer this? A personal friend is a candidate for a job with your company, and you will be potentially involved. Means you are either involved in the making the decision, or you are involved in the interview. So what should you do? So best thing is to I agree with you. I agree with you. So best thing is to say in before the interview, you should declare saying that I know this person, right? If you declare saying that I know this person to all the panel, then they will decide whether you should be the part of the decision making or not the part of decision making. That's one. Or what as you declare, when you declare that part of it, then you will not be biased, because you are told by everybody saying that I know this person, right? This means you are very open about it. You have transparency about it, right? So this is a way of looking at it. There can be nothing. There's nothing like. So let us go to some more. We'll avoid one or two more examples are there, but forget about it. So now really come to the ethics or decision making framework, because I will be taking another 20 minutes. So let me go a little fast. Ethics can be complex without a clear answer. We have seen now this example, so many examples we have seen. There's nothing like a right and wrong. So ethics can be a complex without a clear answer. There's nothing like, you do under these circumstances, do this. Under these circumstances, you don't do that. It's very difficult to say that. The decision framework could provide guidelines. They can be only guidelines to enable the professional to make sound decisions on complex ethical issues. There can be some guidelines to make some issues. But finally, at the end of the day, in a reputed organizations have clearly defined codes of conduct. I said some time back, the codes of conduct and expect strict adherence. But finally, at the end of the day, you may have code of conduct, rules and regulations written in pages after pages. But if somebody doesn't follow it, what is the use of it? So finally, at the end of the day, it comes to that the individual has to follow those, stick to that code of conduct, right? Further. So I'll just give you some framework. Suppose, for example, you have to take a decision on anything. Ask these questions. Would the resulting action be legal? Whatever I am taking a decision, it will be legally correct. Would stakeholders see the action as a responsible stewardship? This is the best question. Whoever is a stakeholder is involved, whether they will feel whatever I have taken a decision, that is right decision. That feeling will come. Would I feel good about the resulting action? And this is the best question. Would I feel good about the resulting action? Am I going to feel at the end of the day action, whatever, I will feel good or not? That's very also important to think. Would I mind having information regarding the decision publicized? See, this is another thing I mentioned some time back. I will take a ticket and publicize it. So if I have taken something decision and if it is supposed tomorrow get publicized, is it okay for me? Have I consulted with mentors, peers regarding the pursued action and possible impact? That's very important. Am I declared? This means I am open and transparent about it. Would the public view the pursued act as a responsible professional action? So if some of this is just a guidelines. If you ask any decision you are taking, ask these questions. These questions can be used as a essentially, individual values determine one's ethical practice. That's what I was trying to bring out throughout. At the end of the day, organization doesn't take the decision. Either a group of the people or the individual take the decision. So individual values determine one's ethical practice and behavior, leading to a personal effectiveness in the professional world. So let us come to the first. What is exactly the personal effectiveness in the professional world? Actually, in the earlier speakers also mentioned, finally, at the end of the day, it's a professional behavior or personal behavior. So how the personal effectiveness and professional world gets mixed, let us look at it. So individual behavior, values, and personal effectiveness. Look at this picture. Now I am going to ask the same question. When you look at this picture, what thought comes to your mind? Hello.
One of the most successful people.
Yeah, success. They are successful, but what else thought comes to your mind? That's the picture. That's the thing. I have put all the successful people there. I want what thoughts comes to your mind. What you feel in your mind. What you feel when you look at these pictures.
You feel proud of them.
Proud. You feel proud. Sometime back, people told me they feel annoyance, they feel pain. Here you feel proud, right? What else?
Inspiration and role models.
Inspiration, role models, inspiration. Exactly. Very nice. So look at the thing. These people also have grown in the same environment as what those people have grown, right? What you see in the first slide, some of the photos, pictures, in the same environment, these people also have grown in the same environment, right? What has made the difference? In one case, you feel annoyance. Another case, you feel proud, inspired, motivated. This means what depends upon whom? Those people, right? The individual behavior and individual values made the difference. That's the what important message I want to bring out showing this picture. Now let us look at, so first understanding is who am I? Self-awareness is very important to understand the self-awareness of. I must understand what are my values, what is my principles, what is really makes me happy, who am I? So self-awareness is an important thing. So we are going to look into a little more detail about this. Where am I here? What is my purpose? Anything what I'm doing, I must define clarity of the purpose should be there. I'm in a suppose working in the industry in a purchase department. I must know my purpose, what I'm doing, or even in the education. I'm a teacher. Even I'm a student. I must know as a student what are my purpose, and actually as a teacher what is my purpose. So what am I here for? The clarity of the purpose is very important. Lastly, what do I stand for? That is values, attitudes, and beliefs. Who am I? Self-awareness of it, the clarity of the purpose, and what I stand for. That is values, attitude, and beliefs. So let us look at little bit more details about values, attitudes, and beliefs. So understanding personality and character will iceberg theory. Look at this iceberg. Generally, people will ask you question, how much do you see of an iceberg? Somebody will say the 10%. This means only 10% of any iceberg is visible, remaining 90% is below. If I apply this theory to our personality, applied to us, what you look at the top is the personality. That is words, how we speak, how tonality, how you really get toned, and body language and gestures. All these the personality. From there, can you make out what person is? Probably you may get little, you feel, oh, good, grand personality, but it may not help you, because what is important is what you see below. That is deep structure is beliefs, values, biases, prejudices, experiences, fears, dreams, feelings, and that defines what you don't see, not visible in a first instance. When I suppose if I meet you, what you see first looking at me is the top one, personality of mine. But all these other factors which are character related, you will not be able to see. Only over a period of time you may know about me a little bit, what type of beliefs I have, what values I have, whether I am biased or unbiased person. All that type of thing will come to know only over a period of time. So it's very important to understand for individual also. Say that what are my beliefs, what are my values, whether am I a biased person, under what circumstances I behave like this. And when you experience something, how you convert that experience into, like we have seen so many examples just now. Through that example, there's a learning. These are the things which happens in every day of our life. How I behave towards those things. There'll be everything is a transaction in life, right? In this transaction, how I make myself, I stand for. That's very important. So let us go a little further. So what does the character means actually? Character is values plus attitude. These are is a mixture of the values and attitude. Sir, I actually mentioned in the introduction related to the values. So what is real values means? Values are the principles, standards, convictions, and beliefs that people adopt as their guidelines in daily activities. So this definition, I like it very much. That's why I written it. Values are principles, standards, convictions, and beliefs people adopt in their guidelines in daily activities. My daily activities also I adopt this particular thing. It may be at home, or it may be in my profession, or my industry, or my any institute, anywhere I am there. These are my principles. I will not move away from it. These are my values. I will not go. I will have those strong beliefs. Principal human values are the foundation on which professional ethics are built. I think this is what Sir talked in initially in the introduction. Finally, the human values are the foundation on which professional ethics are built. They are a set of consistent measures and behaviors that individuals chose to practice in the pursuit of doing what is right or what is expected of them. And that's what we have seen. When we have seen those photographs just now, that photograph, if you really look at it, each person has his own strong beliefs, strong values, something to give it to the society. So all those type of characters are within them, right? So now let us look at the values. So talk about some of them: integrity, excellence, reliability, trustworthiness, result-oriented, collaboration. He talked about collaboration. He mentioned about teamwork, humility, and consistency. I don't think I should elaborate this, but still I like to mention some of them. Important thing for me is the integrity and consistency. Integrity is only not in monetary integrity. I'm not talking only money type of thing, in a money business or a financial integrity. Integrity can be anything. Integrity in a work. If I have to take some decision, how I am doing my work, that integrity part of it also plays a very important. Integrity actually is not related to financial measures only. It can be related to every activity which we carry out. There's integrity in it. I'll say this is not okay, this is not okay. When I'm doing some calculations, for example, many a times what happens, a very interesting thing happened. Actually, I was working at that time in a company, so we got the order, okay. And what happened is one of my engineer came because I was working. Actually, I used to do the estimation of that time. Means in the beginning, before getting the order, the estimation was also under me, and I used to meet the customers. I used to do the little bit. I used to help my marketing people to do the business. So I went. We got the order, and then order was being executed by some other group. So one of the engineers from that group came to me and asked me, "Sir, actually now you have given this material for these components." I said, "Yes. So what is the problem?" No, there's a cheaper material available, and that also works. So I like to replace that material. So I want to save the cost. Actually, just hold on. Have you checked the estimate? The people, when they estimated, which material was taken into estimation? No, and then he told me one more information. He said, we have not declared to customer the material for this. So I can actually replace it. I should just hold on. Go and check the estimate. And in estimate, what taken, tell me. So he told me, no, he had already checked. He said, estimation may, this material, whatever you are, high value material has been used. But I feel we can replace it. So I said, if the estimation may liya hua hai, if customer has paid for it, what right we have to give him low quality material? I said, nothing doing. We will give the same material. So this is what thing that happens, integrity. Integrity doesn't mean only the financial related thing. He is saving the cost to the company, but at what cost? The customer's cost. So that's what is very important to understand the integrity part of. And second part, which is very important for me, the consistency. You must be a consistent thing in anything what you do. Seeing that today I will take a decision on one particular basis, tomorrow I'll take the decision on some other basis. Not okay. There should be a consistency when you do something. In any activity which you do, the consistency is very, very important. You must be rational all the time. You can't say today I'll take decision based on this, tomorrow I'll take the decision based on that. No way. And that's why actually, I was I may ask many people a question: when trust get developed? For trust getting developed, you need not agree with somebody. It is not that somebody agrees with me, so he's my trustworthy. No. For me, trust gets developed when I'm able to predict the person. This means he's a consistent in his action. Because suppose I know under these circumstances, this man will behave like this. If I'm able to predict, I trust him. But for that, whatever he is doing, it may be against me. I don't care for it, but I'm able to predict. See, under these circumstances, this means he's a consistent person. So I am able to trust him. Because I know he may oppose me, he may support me, but I know at what things he will support me, at what point he will not support me. I know I'm able to predict it because he is consistent. And that is very important. Consistency is one of the value which is very important for in our lives. Okay. So let us go a little further. And we talk about character is nothing but value plus attitude. And nothing reveals the quality of a professional like attitude does. Right attitude along with the right value system determines one's personal effectiveness. So your attitude is very important. We are going to talk a little bit more about this. So what is really a personal effectiveness is? We talk about self-awareness, determination, empathy, and accountability. So let us go into each one of this little bit in detail. So attitude of a self-awareness. What do you mean by self-awareness? Self-awareness means knowing who you are, being aware moment to moment of one's thoughts, behavior, and speech. If you look at the sentence, the important word there is moment to moment. This means my values cannot change over a period of time. It has to be a consistent. So moment to moment, I am aware of myself, my thoughts, my behavior, and my speech. So this my values, my principles are all the time. I'm very conscious about it. That is self-awareness. Any action, any work I'm doing, I know I'll do this. These are values of mine, so I'll not move away from it. So you must have your behavior, thoughts, and speech moment to moment. It cannot change. You are aware today, just now, or any time. Then you know, my hari mein tha, wo socha nahi. Not possible. Because if your values cannot change because you socha nahi. Values are values. Your behavioral patterns are behavioral patterns. So that is very important. So attitude of that self-awareness is very important. Second thing is attitude of empathy. Until you understand the needs of your stakeholders, you may not be able to partner in their success. This is a very rich sentence if you really look at it. It says, for me to really make success for anyone, I must understand his needs. So understand empathy towards him. So I mentioned some time back, we say, I want my customer success. Customer success, when I say, this means I want him to succeed. If I want him to succeed, I must understand his needs. Right? So first identify your stakeholders, and each stakeholder understand the need. So any work which, like for example, in a teaching, education, teacher has to understand what my student wants. Right? So that type of thing, and in the industry also, it happens. Like I have a customer, I have a supplier, I have an employee. So I require to understand the need of each one of them. And unless I understand, okay, it's may not be possible to take all the decisions that favoring to that particular thing, but I must be able to achieve that balance. And the attitude should be saying that I will try my best to satisfy each one of them. Okay, sometimes 100%, sometimes maybe a little less, but this attitude should be there of empathy. Attitude of accountability. So what is accountability? Accountability is one of the yardsticks of a responsible business professional whose duty is to ensure end-to-end delivery of the goals and to the stakeholders. See, very nice thing written there. Ensure end-to-end delivery of the goals to stakeholders. Now, I cannot say, oh, many times in our organization you will find, if I would have involved, this would not have happened. These are passing the buck. Whereas, if you are really working in an organization, you must know, saying that it is a responsibility of mine to understand a little bit more. That's what we talk about, understanding the need, and I'm accountable for that. If I don't know something, and I know that this is going to affect the overall delivery, I must be able to go back in the organization and say, "Bhai, इसमें थोड़ा सा problem लग रहा है. Can you have a look at it?" So business professional whose duty is to ensure end-to-end delivery, whatever going from me has to be correct. So if I find the input is not okay, I must go and ask somebody saying that the input looks to be appears to be a little problem. Can you look into it? Many times what happens now, somebody will say, designer will say, no, the data came to me like this. But if I said, look here, right? If you have found something wrong, why you have not gone back and seen? Saying that, why look, if something looks to me wrong, can we check once more? It's possible to do it. So accountability that is accountability. I am ensuring that end-to-end delivery of my goals to the stakeholders is proper. And that's very important to understand. And last one is attitude of determination. Determination generates creativity and passion. This is a very important sentence. Actually, your creativity and passion will come. You are when determined. You may find something difficult, but when you have that, actually, if you say, somehow I am going to make it happen, your creativity and you get passionate about it, and that passionate thinking generates the creative thoughts, ideas comes to you. So it's very important that you cannot be excited about your role and business unless you are determined in providing outstanding contribution to your stakeholders while also upholding ethics. This is an important thing. I must have inner passion saying that I will deliver something to my customer which is very good, he will succeed. Unless that happens to you, you get excited about things will not occur properly. And then I'll say, I'll have my ethics, values within the limit, within the organizational boundaries. I'll work out on that. So, but you must have the determination for that, right? So let us look at, sir talked about leadership part of it. So roadmap to leadership. Each professional aspires to be leader, right? Every person, it may be in a organized industry, organization, or institute. Everybody wants to be leadership. So each professional aspires to be leader. Leadership demands a high degree of professional effectiveness. We have seen what is personal effectiveness. Personal effectiveness, self-awareness, empathy, determination, and accountability. So leadership demands high degree of personal effectiveness. Value system and attitude of an individual plays a key role in personal effectiveness. Your values and attitude plays a very important role in a personal effectiveness. And ethical behavior becomes an integral part of the journey of evolution of an individual into being a great leader. So if you really if you read the autobiographies or look at those personalities of the great leaders, you'll find their behavior is very, very ethical. And they follow this personal effectiveness. They are very self-aware. They have empathy for the cause for the people. They are determination to succeed, and they have the accountability to whatever they are doing. So it's very important to understand this, and I think to follow the ethical behavior to become the integral part of the journey of evolution of an individual into being a great leader. So just to summarize whatever we talked for last 1 hour, professional life will throw up situations which bring us to crossroads and evoke moral dilemmas. This is very important. There will be many occasions will come. You don't know which is right and which is wrong. What to do in that situations. Those type of things will happen. But actually, when you are at crossroads, what is more important to you? When you are at a crossroads, you don't know whether to go there or whether to go here. What position? Well, there will be moral dilemma. Ethics can be complex without clear answers. We said that. There's nothing like a clear answer. You do this, it is 1 + 1 = 2. No. A professional code of ethics should focus on serving the legitimate goals of all the stakeholders. That is the employer, customer, cross-functional departments, partners, and society. So your goal, what is the final at the end of the code of ethics? That is that I'm serving the people, I'm serving the stakeholders. That is, so I must be able to do that ethically. Individual values and ethics shall be the guiding principle. We talk about just now about values, which shall determine the personal effectiveness of a good professional. If you want to become the good professional, your values, behavior, your attitude, all things should be think of. Ethics is a complex, but even if it's a complex, if you have your own principles, that will show the I'll read once more. There may be a time powerless to prevent injustice. It may not be under our control, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest. But as we can talk about it, we can raise about it, we can raise the point about it. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and thank you very much. Actually, I enjoyed. I'm sure all of you might have at least seen what the things about it. Whatever you wanted, your expectations I met. Thank you very much. Hello? Can I stop the sharing? Where to stop the sharing? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Now. Person is like this. He is supporting or not supporting him. Suppose, for example, he is not giving good service. He is not open to you. You go to his boss and tell him, saying that I am not getting proper service. What is the answer you get from there? That depends. Actually, I can tell you, in any organization, finally, the organization culture determines the person. I am not saying there will be some exceptions, but most of the time, organizational culture will determine the individual's behavior. Most of the people will like to do the job, but then there will be constraints. They will have some constraints. We don't know their constraints. But those constraints, somebody should remove those constraints. And that will, in organizational culture, is the responsible for it. Suppose, for example, his boss has told him, you try to manage it in that within that value. If your customer may ask gold, don't give it to him. If he has told this one sentence, then what will happen to that fellow? Do you think it is his mistake? No. So this is one has to look into it, various things. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is not the everything ethics, etc., plays specifically in a group behavior. It is very important how the group is behaving, how the group values are there, what type of messages which you have been given. This is what happens. It's okay, I think, whatever I said.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर। हाँ सर जैसे आप कह रहे हैं एथिक्स, तो इन इंडिया तो कोई एथिक्स फॉलो नहीं करता, तो उसको एथिक्स को रूल में कन्वर्ट करने का कंपल्सन कर सकते हैं ना हम। तो अगर एक बार कंपल्सन कर दे तो सब लोग फॉलो करेंगे।
सुनो। What you said may be okay, but I'll ask you. If the same situation comes to you, what you will do? Every अपना इधर प्रॉब्लम था, इंडिया में नहीं फॉलो होता है. Now you also saying that, very interesting. इंडिया में नहीं होता है. But who prevented for me to not to do? That's the question. What happens when I do something wrong? I give 10 examples. You can see every day in a paper, every political party talking about other parties, saying that वो लोगों ने ऐसा किया था. You are justifying what your action because somebody else has done it. No, that's the problem. So if the individual decides, saying that I will not do this, finally, country is made up of individuals. At the end of the day, 140 crores people is a country. So 140 crore people decide I will not do this, thing will change, right? So it comes at the end of the day is the individual. And most of the things what we justify, you know what happens now, Raja? Most of the people we try to justify if something we do wrong, and we justify because other man has done wrong. That is the way the culture comes to that's the societal responsibility comes into the picture. You have to think, I will not do it wrong. That's the end of what happened. Simple thing. Suddenly somebody will come and go, can give the ticket to somebody. People will come and say, can you take a ticket for me? I want to tell you something. I used to refuse to the people. I used to stand in a queue properly. And I used to refuse if somebody comes to asking me to take a ticket for him. I'll say, look here, so many people are standing in the queue. Now don't, and some people like to do the favor, you know, theek hai, uska ticket leke dega. But you are not thinking, she's not standing in the queue and other people are, so you want to be a good person to him. She should tell, ye banda acha tha, usne mera ticket leke diya. So you take a ticket, but you have done injustice to remaining people who are behind you, right? So one has to think, every decision, individual has to take a decision. Your own values, your own principles. I'll tell you one example, my personal example, I'll tell you. That was very, very few years back, not now, maybe around 30, 40 years back, actually. That time gas cylinder used to come, no? And we had ordered the gas, we were required to order the gas 1 week in 1 week before and all that. So one day gas cylinder has not come. Our gas cylinder we had ordered and we had a function at home and gas cylinder had not come. So I asked the gas fellow, that fellow used to move along with the cylinders carrying, you know. So I asked him, भाई हमारा cylinder तो इतना दिन हो गया, 15 दिन हो गया ऑर्डर हुआ है, नहीं मैंने ये दिया था, रिक्वेस्ट दिया था, आया नहीं है. नहीं, बट आपको चाहिए क्या? बोला क्या चाहिए, क्या मीन्स? नहीं, इसे आप मेरे 15 रुपए ज्यादा दे दो, मैं देता हूँ आपको 10-15 रुपए that time. He asked me some money. He said, if you give me, I'll give it to you. I said, नहीं चाहिए. 1 दिन हो गया, 2 दिन हो गया, 3 दिन हो गया, और function was coming closer. So I had a pressure from home. I said, तुम क्या कर रहा है यार, 5 रुपए के लिए इसको दे दो और ले लो ना. I said, नहीं, because I was a little busy. Then they are to the office. And I asked him, नहीं आया. He said, नहीं, अपना order can. So I said, just hold on. Show me this thing. I want to show which are the cylinders are delivered and which not delivered. He said, नहीं, क्यों? हाँ, register दिखा नहीं सकते. I said, मेरे को register देखना है. Because I have ordered 15 days back. People, I know in my building itself, some people have got it who have ordered after me, after 4-5 days, they got it. And I haven't got it. So show me the register. She said, नहीं, आप घर जाओ, आपका cylinder अब भी आ जाएगा. And I got the cylinder. So anyway, I got a lot of bashing from my family members also, saying that तुम क्या करता है, ये क्या होता था 5 रुपए की वजह से. It's not a question of 5 rupees. You wanted to change that person. When I went there to his shop, other 10 people listened to me. So I said, at least now he will not do this type of hera-peri. You understand? So everybody has to take on his own. We generally say, ऐसा practice ही है, ऐसा ही होता है इंडिया में. If ऐसा ही होता है तो ऐसा ही होता रहेगा. Individual has to decide what you want to work. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Hello. Okay. Thank you. In that case, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Ibrahim sir. It's my pleasure and privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks for this session on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering and NDLI MS Saboo College of Engineering. I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Mr. Fasih Ahmed Khan, DGM at Mahindra and Mahindra Limited, for gracing this important session on industrial ethics, and a very big thank you to Gajanan Sadekar, ex-vice president at L&T Limited and consultant in technology and management, for sharing his valuable experience and knowledge and sparing time for this session. Since I am new to this I pray to the Almighty for your good health. Happy Deepavali. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and it's my pleasure. I always like to do, except that unfortunately I do not like to travel at present because of certain other problems. But
Yes.
online I'm always available at any time you will need me. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I log out? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, and it was my pleasure also to be attending this session. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Finally got around 55 students. Remember it. अच्छा ये Google हो. अच्छा जी. Both. अच्छा जी. Okay. हाँ. Good. Okay. You give that
Yes, sir.
summary that what we can. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Inshallah. ठीक है. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, John sir.
Thank you. Okay.
हाँ.